Hello everybody, is this starting already? I'm not mentally prepared to start the show, just so you know. Um, what what is this thing? It's so bright. It's Banter Blitz number 81. This is not my first show, believe it or not. We've been on a bit of a hiatus because of the Altibox Norway chess thingy where we've been doing commentary. Then I got a cold. This is the worst time to get a cold. Like, it's the 3 good days of the year in Hamburg where the sun is shining, and then you get a cold. You feel like even dumber than in winter when everybody else has a cold. But great news, I survived my cold, and I'm willing to flag all of you in 5 minute games if you were to challenge me to one such 5 minute game. Of course, you would have to be a premium member on chess24.com, and why wouldn't you be? You get so much stuff, even my new video series where I teach you things. This is the great marketing speech that I prepared. Let us play some chess. Oh, all these bright lines. Like, normally we have this, I don't even know what it's called, these eggshells covering the window, but it seems like they fell down. So the sun is shining right into my face, and it's irritating. I will get very, very irritated in no time. Let's play chess. Sound video good, beautiful. Must play game of chess. Oh, and I've played this dude, apparently. Mr. Cicero, number 82. No, not number 28. Cicero 28. Is 28 your age or your rating ambitions? Also, please teach me, because I'm not as highly educated as I would like to be. What is Cicero referring to? Is that sounds like some dude from ancient Rome, some Senate dude? But I do think I should know more about this topic. G3, in my video series, I recommended the move C5 in my recently finished video series. And after bishop G2, I said take. When if white were to recapture, this is a mistake. Now black can just grab the center. It's much better to play castles and wait for knight C6. Because after recaptures E5, black is already doing quite well. I forgot what I gave here. My best guess would be something like bishop E7, because this position is already fine for black, but it made some sense to me to wait with knight to C6 until white commits to something. For example, here after bishop G5, it could come in handy to be able to go for this move. This move looks slightly artificial, that's why I'm having second thoughts. Or for bishop E6, then you would have to take and go knight C5. That's also fine. Anyway, I'm not sure I articulated my train of thought very clearly, because my train of thought normally isn't very clear. I think bishop E6 is the logical move to make. This is a bit random, just to illustrate my point that the knight on C6 could also be used on D7. Of course, he can't take on D5 because of knight D5, and the bishop drops. After bishop F6, I would go knight F6. So my next move shall be, I was going to say H6, but that drops the pawn, shall be D4 and see what Mr. Cicero 28 has in store. Whenever he captures here, recapture I shall. If I'm overusing the word shall, please let me know. Redding Bear is asking, where is Jan broadcasting from? I'm in Hamburg, Germany. And these are the 3 sunny days of the year in Hamburg, Germany. So it's very confusing. And Nizahe is insulting me greatly. He's saying all nerds are irritated by sunlight. I never thought of myself as a nerd. Like, if I could grow a neckbeard, I think of myself more as a neckbeard, like the irritating type of nerd. The wannabe jock. Then again, most nerds might be wannabe jocks. I don't know, I feel like I'm talking myself into a hole here, just like Cicero is playing himself into a hole by desperately trying to defend against my threat of b5. Trapping his knight. He had to give me the 2 bishops and coordinate all my pieces and all that good stuff. What do I do though? Queen c7 looks like a normal move. Targeting the horsey with a tough choice to make. Knight e4 or knight d3. My best guess is that he's gonna go knight e4. when I don't know what to do. Bishop f5 maybe takes, and it's a little awkward to defend the c2 pawn. Rook c1, then I can put a rook on d8. Looks decent enough, if you ask me. Knight d3, probably too early to go e4 because he can jump around a little with knight f4 and d4 becomes loose, so I'm not in a hurry. Rook d8, let's get some pieces out. One day or another, I shall push. There's the shall word again. Shall push the e-pawn. And there's some discussion if nowadays being a nerd has become cool, so it's no longer an insult but praise. And yeah, there's, I guess, some truth to that. But the problem is I probably am a nerd, and you always want to be what you aren't, right? So I don't want to have curly hair, but I do. It's very frustrating. This is one of my great frustrations in life, all that curly hair. And yeah, I'm not a jock, but I like to be one. So yeah, it's not that being a nerd, whatever a nerd is, I don't even know the definition, is a good or a bad thing. It's just that since it probably applies to me, I don't want to be it. Anyway, let's look up the definition of nerd while we're on it. Is there a difference between nerd and geek? It's probably nerdy to even ask these questions. I'll take here and then go queen b6 and see what happens. Nerd is a person seen as overly intellectual, obsessive or lacking social skills. So the overly intellectual, nah. Obsessive, yeah, with some things. Lacking social skills, yep. Such a person may spend inordinate amounts of time on unpopular, little known, let's continue reading, non-mainstream activities, which are generally either highly technical, abstract, or relating to topics of fiction or fantasy. That's where I'm not sure anymore. Like, guilty for spending too much time on chess, and some would argue my other dumb hobbies like basketball or TV shows. But I really don't have an interest in science fiction or fantasy stuff. So I don't know. Do we need different categories for nerds? This is all a very confusing discussion already. While I'm just trying to crush Cicero 28. I just wanna crush you, baby. I'm not a singer. I think that much we can establish. I have a good position. I don't know what to do. So it's pretty much the usual. 95 years to take? 95 feels like a mistake, though. Mistake to take. Alright, let's do this. I get very distracted by the nerd discussion. Very worked up, which is probably also a very nerdy thing. To get all riled up about these topics. So what do I do after knight dc5? I was expecting knight f4 when I have a plan. But knight dc5 is not part of my plans. So now I'm very nervous. Breathe in, breathe out. Knight dc5 is a bit of a problem. Also a fairly obvious move. I'm going to have to come up with something. But yeah, e4 was not the solution to all my worries. Here we go. Knight d5, rook c4. Yeah, I didn't find the solution. So I'll just blitz out some panicky move and take it from there. Rook e8, panicky, but of course a very deep idea. If he takes everything, I can go wherever. Bishop f6 and then win the rook on c3 by attacking the queen on e4. Also preparing to defend my pawn on e4. If I have to. Looks like Cicero 28 has either found a hole in my combination or he did not see this finishing touch, bishop f6, targeting the rook on c3 or bishop b4, same idea. My best guess is it's the latter. Now I have an extra exchange and much more importantly, I have an extra minute so I can use all the good flagging skills. And one big part of being a flagger is don't get checkmated while you're busy flagging your opponent, because mate ends the game. You can checkmate as much as you like. You can flag as much as you like after being checkmated. It doesn't matter. So go g6, create a little luft for yourself, so there is not gonna be any checkmates in one move, and then make all these random moves while you're busy winning on time. As usual, the main point of this program is to educate you guys about the beautiful game of chess. That is a very worthwhile activity that you should spend all your time on. Not nerdy at all, because it's a game played on a wooden board after all, and it deserves to throw our life away and not being productive. I can't speak. Productive members of society, to study the intricacies of what happens if he starts with 3g3, not c4, e6 and then g3. Anyway, thank you for the game, Mr. Cicero. I feel like I'm yelling. Am I speaking too loudly? Shall we turn down the volume? And Spills is pointing out I would need glasses to be a real nerd like Magnus. I don't think Magnus is a nerd either. Like, he's now trying to play the nerd card with his weird hair and his weird glasses. But he's much more of a bully at heart than a nerd. But yeah, the glasses thing, I just had this conversation earlier this morning that I used to have perfect eyesight, but I haven't done what do you call these people, an optician's test in like 20 years probably. So I wonder if that's still the case with all this staring at screens that we do nowadays. Probably not. I'm slightly scared though of going there. Maybe I should. I haven't been to the dentist in a long time. I haven't been to the optician. I haven't been to any doctor. It's probably time to do like an overall checkup. I will avoid the psychiatrist for now, because we all know what the answer would be there. But the other guys, like, might as well. Anyway, more chess. Let's play our boy Zimba 7, always around. Mr. Zimba. I shall start with the c-pawn, because once in a while, Caesar the c-pawn, just like Cicero, also wants to have his due. Have his say in the matters that be. What's Zimba up to? He's one of these King's Indian people? Looks like he's one of the King's Indian people. And what do I do against the King's Indian? I don't really have a repertoire, but this time around, let's go for the main line. See what Mr. Zimba has in store. Do I have any, surprises here, apart from weird arm movement through my hair? Probably not. Nah, let's play the main line. Or what to my mind is the main line, because I'm a creature of the 1960s, the 2000s, when Kramnik was playing this. What do they call this? The bayonet attack? This b4 business. And here nowadays they do all kinds of weird stuff, like rook e8 I've seen, planning to mate a5 with c5. And, well, the old school approaches is more like, rook e8, here we go. Is more like knight e8 followed by f5. Rook e8, the point is that after a5 we can go c5 and dc, knight c6, then there's no pawn hanging on d6. Or the pawn is still hanging on d6, but no rook hanging on f8. I don't think queen d3 is a critical move, but it is a move, which is also a nice thing to do. Point is to go whatever, rook f2-1, and then go a5 one day. I don't really have points, I just make moves. Knight h5, fair enough. Guess I should go G3. And probably I shouldn't drink out of the bottle on camera, right? Another good point, I do have glasses today. G3, f5. Can you do this, Zimba? So aggressive. Nobody even wants to let me breathe. No, at least I should be able to open this front. I also thought about knight g5. But why bother? My point is now if he goes c5 I can take it. Knight c6, queen d5 check seems to be picking up material. So it looks like a good time to continue action on the queen side. Which after all is what it's all about. In the, what do you call this? The King's Indian. So you should probably go BA, but I thought I can still take bishop d6, knight c6, queen d5 check, and after rook e6, something bad should happen to him, like c5, the knight is hanging, knight g5 is coming. Something should happen. So he's trying to pretend like this was all part of the plan and goes bishop to e6, but who are you kidding, Zimba? Not me. Maybe he's kidding me. Knight g5, knight c6, knight e6. So complicated. Knight b4. Did I win there? I can't count. It's one of my big weaknesses. c7 wins a pawn, but I really want to go knight g5. Nah, not clear enough. Alright. What do I do? Just take on b6. Knight c6. I don't know, man. Chess is very tough. Not happy with a6. It feels like there was some direct solution, but I could not spot it. Knight g5 felt like the move. Still, I should be in pretty good shape here. I just like to whine. That's what it comes down to. So let me try to calculate a bit while whining. If he starts with knight c6, I'll take on a8, and then the b6 pawn survives, which is probably bad news for black. So he should probably take on a1 first, and then go knight takes c6. When, yeah, I haven't achieved all that I wanted out of life and out of my position. But what to do? Let's think about this. Queen d6, queen b6, knight d5. Nah, nothing special. Bishop d5. Nah. Yeah, this was not very impressive. I'm still in good shape. I have to keep telling myself that. But yeah, I did not punish him. I should really have punished him. Alright, life goes on. White is still better because I opened the queen side, my pieces are a little more active, but I'll continue whining that I'd missed an earlier way to punish him for all his sins. Until I punish him for all his sins. Then maybe the whining will stop. Maybe not. That's another topic. Like, do you really deserve punishment for your sins? Shouldn't we strive to forgive you, give you a second chance? I don't think that's how chess works. No, just food for thought. Karl Nehring is asking, if I write my kids out of my will I gain any points back? What are we talking about, Karl Nehring? Are you trying to bribe me with putting me into your will? And if the answer is yes, I'm willing to talk, just so you know. But I'm guessing that's not what he's saying. Can I go here? I kind of want to go here. Let me try. I want to use the fact that this knight is a little bit away from home, and that could come back to haunt the rest of the team. Still don't see the dagger. But it must be there. Knight g5, h6, knight f7, king h7. Still no checkmate. It's so frustrating when it's never checkmate. Very sad. I'm very upset about this game. I'll probably win on time. That's the good news. And rain-coated lover's puny brother. Good username, first of all. And secondly, congratulations. You understood the show. He's saying white is totally winning, yet Jan is always whining. I know. I wish that applied to life as well. Nah, actually. I'm not winning on a Charlie Sheen scale, but probably I whine more than I should. Nah, not at all. I deserve all my whining. And I deserve all my pieces' activity. Like this little check. Zimba. I could cash in anyway. But do I wanna? I don't know. These two passed pawns also look appealing, do they not? Very hard to decide on anything here. It's a very tough game, only eased by the fact that I'm probably gonna win on time. Or on c-pawn. And Zimba resigns before I could put my c-pawn on c6 or flag him. Interesting game, but generally speaking, I would guess after queen d3, it's knight h5 and f5 strikes me as wrong, especially in combination with rook to e8, because now after a5, the position gets opened on fronts where I want it open. I don't know theory. I have a feeling maybe you can get away with some jumps like this, knight f5 and turning knight d4. I don't know, you'd have to look it up, but yeah, I think this is the place to look for improvements. Anyway, thank you for the game. Shall we play more games? You know what? My boy Lefty John, he deserves to be punished for his constant leftiness. Why do I think of chess games as punishment? I have to rethink my priorities, I believe. d4, d5, c4. This is the so-called Queen's Gambit. If you take, it's the Queen's Gambit accepted. If you go e6, it's the Queen's Gambit declined. After knight c3, the game should still take many paths. c6 would be the so-called triangle, c5 would be the so-called Tarrasch. Knight f6, now after c takes d5, which I will play, e takes d5 leads to the so-called Karlsbad structure, knight takes d5 leads to the so-called semi-Tarrasch. It's a jungle out there, the jungle of chess openings. This is a position that has become popular from the black point of view thanks to the efforts of Vladimir Kramnik, who plays c5 in this position, when white has a choice between going knight f3, rook b1 and a3. Knight to c6 I like less, you're blocking your own c-pawn. You might hope to get in e5 one day, but it's probably not going to happen because I control that square. And that makes it much harder for black to challenge the center. And he who controls the center controls the realm, is what I learned from Game of Thrones. Don't hang out there in Bravos, you gotta head all the way to Westeros and get the job done. Now, I'm mainly gonna play for cheapos. I will play h4, intending bishop takes h7. Lefty John is not gonna allow me to do it, but in order to stop me from doing so, he has to weaken his king by going f6. After queen e2, he could go sneakily f5, but he takes on e5, which makes sense. He stopped me from my cruel bishop h7's intentions and opened the f5 for his rook, but he also had to weaken his king further. Queen e4 is looming a little bit, and yeah, it's an unpleasant situation, which I will try to make more unpleasant by still hinting at this bishop h7 sacrifice. h4 prepares bishop h7 because I cover the g5 square. So after bishop h7, king h7, knight g5 check. If you took on g5, I would recapture with a pawn, giving a check with the rook. Therefore h4 is a typical preparing bishop h7 mechanism. It also prepares queen e4, when after g6 I could open the position further with h5. Now I should probably double check or just do it. If this works, I think it might work. A typical sacrifice. And Lefty John, to his credit, immediately takes, because if you don't take, you might as well resign. So whenever people do this, just take and then think. Here, king g8, and now I have a choice, queen h5, but I think I'm overusing, I think g6 also wins. But g6, rook f5, so many options, so little time. Rook h8, king h8, queen h5, king g8, g6, 5, queen h7, king f8, queen h8, king e7, queen g7, king e8. Too complicated. So how do I checkmate, Mr. Lefty Boy? This should not be very tough for a gifted attacker, but it's me we're dealing with here. And Lefty is saying, big trouble, huh? He's in some amount of trouble, but I'm not quite sure how to finish the game off. So check. King h8, queen h5, king g8, g6. That's what I want to do. Rook f5 or rook anywhere 5 seems to be the only move. Queen h7, king f8, bishop 3, knight 7. Okay, looks kind of matey. And if rook h8, king f7, queen h5, yeah, let's find out. Worst thing that could happen is I'll be a rook and a piece down against Lefty John. But at least we all learned something along the way. Lefty John is asking, maybe I should stick to pool. And if you're any good at pool, like, stick to it for sure, because it's more fun. I was gonna say it's more outdoorsy, but it's really not. It's like a dimly lit, shady pool halls. But it's easier to hustle people in pool than in chess. Because in chess, you know, it's very hard to play dumb. I've tried. I've gone to, what do they call this, Washington Square Park. And tried to make any money as a chess hustler, but I have too many tells. And Lefty John resigns, a bit premature. He's believing my grandmasterness. But I was looking, at this stuff. And bishop a3 check seemed to be important. When knight e7, queen h8 is checkmate. King e8, queen g8 also gets the job done. And thanks for the game, Lefty. I don't know if it worked, but it seemed like it. And generally, yeah. Challenge the center, or you might end up being checkmated, is the valuable lesson that we've all learned from this game. Oh, my phone is doing something. But what? Let's play Mr. Intermove. Overall Happy is trying to push my buttons by asking me, where does your reluctance towards dolphins come from? I don't think reluctance is the right word. It's more appropriate fear. Like if there's any species that is plotting to develop breathing devices and overtake the Earth. Why did I pre-move knight c6? That's ridiculous. From us humans, it is the dolphins. And yeah, I don't trust these people. Read up on them. They're sneaky. Serial rapists. They have this communication systems. They're eating their young. They're bullying all other sea-based species. And they are not cute. So I recommend all of you to go to IHateDolphins.com. Read up on the topic. And make sure you don't fall for their little spiel. Because their dolphins are not to be messed. The Evans Gambit is also not to be messed. I have not read up on it for a while. Like, I think the current word on the street is that the easiest way to play is bishop a5, d4, d6, queen b3, queen d7, d, bishop b6. There is some sneaky lines involved, but generally the problem is that if black is willing to return his pawn, he's in good shape. Still, it's a gambit that makes sense to me. You sacrifice a flank pawn and you gain a bunch of tempi to occupy the center. So it's not like the king's gambit, where I don't see the point at all. The Evans, I think, is a respectable opening. And I famously lost a game to Niklas Huschenbeet in a while back, where he crushed me in the Evans, out-prepared me. So I have bled. Larry Evans got a taste of my blood. Ooh, that sounds weird. And what I'm trying to say is, I think it's a decent line, but theory does not consider it very critical. I'm out of book. I'm supposed to go bishop b6 here, I would guess, right? To prepare knight to a5. Looks logical enough. I always forget what I'm supposed to do after de. Am I supposed to go knight a5 anyway, or can I recapture on e5 then? I'm sure it's gonna end up in a bloody mess. And he goes bishop b5, which also looks very logical. Did I lose material already? Maybe I should study the Evans one day. Let me think. a6, he's probably not going to take here, because then, once again, I would be able to give my pawn back with a good position. But he's going to go bishop a4 and try to win material with this devious plan of his to go d5. Only defense I can think of off the top of my head. And I'm not willing to leave the top of my head, which is a problem I have as a chess player, is bishop a7 and after d5 to go b5. DC, queen c6, when this bishop seems to be trapped on a4. I hope that works, because else I'm losing a piece, which would make me very, very sad. You've seen how much I win in a good position, so imagine me being a piece down. Would not be a fun day for any of us. He takes on c6. I guess queen takes de5, and once again I'm gonna have to think, but generally this is the scenario you want in the Evans with the black pieces, where after, let's say, bishop e6, he might have regained his pawn, but I gained long-term assets, like in this case the two bishops, and the better structure, so it's not really a position to be particularly afraid of with black. I can't decide how to handle this. DE looks fine. 95, like queen b5, knight somewhere. 97 also looks fine. Well, I'll take, I guess. b5 is a bit of a weird square for the queen, I have to admit. End of sentence. Just making sure my queen won't get trapped after a4 or knight a3 or whatnot. It doesn't look like. And yeah, this is the scenario I was talking about. If you can make it out of the opening, even giving your pawn back, but having the two bishops, better structure and so on. That's not a great outcome for the gambeteer. And it seems like modern theory says, not that black is better necessarily, but that black can equalize. I'm doing that most of the time. Having said that, I have no idea what happened in this game. I might have blundered a piece along the way. I had not seen this bishop b5 move, but this a6, bishop a7, which I did, seemed to make sense to me. d5 with b5. Queen c5, another weird square, but I didn't want queen a5, knight c4, so might as well go here. Hit the horsey. Then, I don't know, I don't really have any big ambitions, I just want a castle. Could think about knight h5 to try to undermine this construction a little. But it seems like he's still in time to go. Let's say, I don't even know what his next move will be. Queen b2. Oh, knight b1, okay, that's not a great outcome after his last move was knight a3. So, do I want to go knight h5 and start causing some trouble? I am a bit of a troublemaker. Knight d3. Nah, I don't really see the upside. I'll just castle. Maybe not the most accurate moves I made over the last two moves. End of sentence again. Okay, I should start playing a little better. Did I blunder my bishop? Oof. I had the feeling something was wrong. Oh boy. That's embarrassing. That is extremely embarrassing. Uh-oh. Okay, what to do? I have to try to hang in there. That's just pathetic. I'm also punch drunk, so I'm just blundering some more pieces to add insult to injury. Now I am, of course, kind of lost, but I shall fight till the very bitter end. And by kind of lost, I mean very, very lost. Relaxed too early after I had a good position. I did this knight a3, knight b1. He lured me into a false sense of security. How dare you? And bishop c4, queen d8 is bad news. So if I have to spend time on h6, he's going to take on a6, which is also not ideal for me. Then again, if you're rook down often, you're not in a position to make demands. Nope. No way out. fair enough. What's the plan here, Intermove? Or are we just interchanging moves? Ah, there is a plan. Takes rook d8 check. That's very deep. Can't expect me to see such stuff. Knight c6, knight d4. Oh, big champion of chess. Okay, I have to speed up to at least win the flag game, but he's upped his frequency of moves greatly, which is very unfair. Ugh, and I upped my frequency of blunders again by blundering more pieces. Queen takes c6, yeah, that's just sad. Oh boy, why do I always blunder all my pieces? Now I'm really gonna lose. I honestly thought I was still winning that game, but don't have that feeling anymore. Am I still gonna win this game? Don't get me excited, Intermove. Don't play with my feelings. Alright, I don't think I deserve more than a draw on this one. Good game by Intermove. Not a great game by yours truly. I think is a fair statement. Starting with blundering my bishop on a7. I believe that was a mistake with hindsight. Like you never know in the moment. Do I need that bishop? Do I not need it? But I'm sure it was caught on camera that I hesitated and I want to play rook fd8, but then for no good reason. I went with this rook, and after knight df3, rook fe8 was really a little bit careless. Like, loose pieces drop off. That's a concept I should be familiar with. And yeah, here my position has not changed for the better. Anyway, good game, Intermove. Apologies for the usual. Oh boy. Let's play another game. What about Sylon? From the United Kingdom. What are you doing here? First of all, shouldn't you be watching your queen instead of watching the banter? I have no idea what the queen is talking about, so I'll play the Trompowsky d5, e3. Bishop f5 is fine. Maybe not the finest, but fine. I'm wondering how to punish it. Can't really think of a punishment, but it looks like now is a good time to transpose to bishop takes f6, maybe followed by c4 lines. Thing is, I want to go c4, but then takes... I'll do it, but I'll show you what bothers me in a second. Not sure it should bother me. What bothered me was takes or even the immediate bishop takes b1. And if rook takes b1, bishop b4 check is a little inconvenient because this knight can no longer block the check. And therefore, my king has to move. So bishop b1, I probably have to go queen b1. Bishop b4, king d1, which between you and me does not look ideal. c6, I am a much happier camper because now I can go knight c3 and use my original point that the bishop on f5 is a little bit misplaced to defend the center and to fight against my upcoming onslaught on the queen side, where, you know, I'm trying to target these dudes. Still, Sylon being resourceful, and queen c7 is a good move because after cd I cannot take on d5, even though I'd like to, because then c3 would drop, so I have to be humble. Go bishop b5 check, hopefully forcing him to go knight d7 to keep contact with the c3 pawn. Nope, he doesn't want to do that. Then I don't need an extra invitation. I will just grab your pawns. Queen c5 looks like a nice move to make, stopping him from castles. And also threatening d4, d5. I'll once again be humble and allow him to play b5. Then just go bishop b3. I've already grabbed my central pawn, so there's no reason to do anything too crazy, apart from the fact that I'm still punch drunk from that last game. Game of Pawns says, yes, he's too lucky. Yeah, sometimes I have a feeling when a rook down in an endgame, even my luck might not save me anymore. But so far, it's been there for me. Knock on wood. Rook c8. Give me that pawn. This game I have a good feeling. Even though you should never relax too early. We've seen that last game as well. Here, Queen a7 I was curious about, but then Rook c6, Queen a1 check, King e2, Queen wherever, b2, King f3. Looks like a fairly safe outpost. So, no reason to get all that scared just yet. Queen a8 is a better move. Boy, I really can't see things. This is getting sad. I thought Queen a7 and I would take here, and then he would have the spike check. But Queen a8, he has the spike check without giving me the knight, which probably is a better idea. Scared now. I don't know what to do. I really want to move my knight, but it feels risky because of Queen a1 check. Let's do it. Let's send our king on a little journey. Nah, I can't sacrifice material. I'm like Gollum with my inner dialogue. Couldn't decide. Very sad. Should I pre-move this? No, I'd feel silly if he castles and I pre-move King e2. See? You should have given that check, Sylon, to irritate my king while it's out in the open, because now I can probably stop you from doing that. And I did grab some pawns along the way, so the endgames are probably good for me. My Queen a1 check, King e2, I couldn't see anything too devastating, but it's not very pleasant if you can't develop your king side and your queen is deep down in your neck of the woods. Nizahe is bringing up a very good point. Will Jan's book about being a rook up in an endgame also include being a rook down skills? Maybe I should include a chapter on how to defend in these rook down situations. Even though, between you and me, honestly, it's much easier playing a rook up than playing a rook down. So I would recommend, and probably this will be my recommendation in the book, I'm not sure yet, I would recommend to avoid these situations whenever possible. This game I also haven't played very well, and I'm still struggling a bit with bringing my pieces out. I have all these extra pawns, but Sylon is making things tough for me by not allowing me to develop. And sometimes we all have to develop. We have to grow as people and as chess players. And if your development gets arrested, like Sylon is arresting my knight, hilarity might ensue. Go back, Sylon. You gotta keep these pieces locked up. Because once they come out, my extra pawns will have their say. I don't want you to give any more checks, just so we're clear. Therefore g3, stopping knight h4 check. g5, he's still trying to give more checks, which is not very nice. Okay, let's compromise. You get one more check, I get two more of your pawns. Maybe it's just one more of your pawn. They say good compromise is one where both sides are unhappy. And I would guess that's the case here. I'm not happy. He's going to check me. He won't be happy that he's going to lose. So yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. Now it seems like things are firmly under control because I do have all these extra pawns. He's still trying to check me. What have we talked about not checking me, Sylon? How dare you? Some men just want to see the world burn. And I want to blunder more pawns by going b4. Good thing is I have some spare pawns, so I can blunder like one or two. I could go for b6, b7 and try this auto-queen thing. But that would be very unfair to our friend and colleague on the c4 square, who's been nothing but supportive all these years. Spills is asking, have you read Take My Rooks by Minev and Saravan? Is that a real book? I did not read that, but I'm probably gonna have to read it while doing the research for my book on being a rook up, which by the way is not a real book. Before I get letters, when is your rook up book coming out? It's more of a fantasy, like ruling my own kingdom of Yanistan and attacking other kingdoms to expand and bring glory to the nation. Both of these things aren't real. It is real that the b-pawn made a great career and will queen. But no, I have not read Take My Rooks by Minev and Saravan. Isn't Yasser quite of a material grabber as well? I would expect him to author books like Give Me Your Rook, but Take My Rooks sounds very, very masochistic to me. Unless it is a euphemism. That I do not know. Let's play... I want to play somebody. Let's play Westin 1974. From Japan, did I see that right? Yep. Westin. That's one of my favorite hotels. I'm not sure if you're connected to the hotel chain Westin, but I do enjoy your hotels. 1974 is 5 years before I was born, so I don't have any strong opinions on the year 1974. But I hold nothing against that year either. Oh, there he is, Mr. Weston goes for 1c4. And I shall play the move I rarely play, but always consider critical. The move e5, grabbing space in the center. g3 is interesting. For a long time they used to consider g3 to be more accurate than knight c3, because knight c3 allows all these bishop b4 based systems. Recently they haven't gone g3 as much because they are slightly curious or slightly concerned about what to do after c6 followed by d5. Now my problem is I don't really know what is happening here while Weston seems to be booked up to the eyeballs, blitzing out knight f3, knight d4, knight c2. But my little birds have told me that this is an acceptable variation for black. I've seen games here, like they play h3 and something happens. Bishop g2, I'm guessing they don't do because of bishop h3, even though one would have to think that through as well, because queen b3 is a bit awkward. And we don't want anything awkward on this show. Zodoniasty is asking, Jan, why don't you play German Championship this year? That's a good question. I actually just saw the lineup like yesterday or the day before. I knew nothing about it, like, which probably, or not probably, you could say is my fault. I should stay more informed of these topics. But yeah, someone should tell me such things. Invite me, send me an email, call me, stuff like that. Then yeah, I'll definitely think about it. But yeah, I just didn't know is the short answer. I'm not saying I would have played had I known, but I just missed that this was happening. As for the game, I am not sure I should have taken on g2 either, but I did. Generally, I guess I'm doing alright, but I gotta decide what goes where. Does the bishop go to c5? Does the knight go to c5? All these questions. I have a feeling the bishop wants to go here. At least first. Maybe then it can take on e3 and the knight can take his place. But in the line of succession, the bishop comes first. So Dynasty is saying, I would be a serious candidate to win this. Thank you so much. Even though I've never won the German championship, bringing great shame to my house. And yeah, I've watched a lot of Game of Thrones, so get used to the references. I finished second a couple times, but I've never won it, which annoys me. I'm not sure it would be a life changer, but it would be nice to, have that title once. So I would not rule out playing in the German championship at all, because it would be nice to win it once. But somehow I always miss that the thing is happening. And of course, I'm a spoiled princess. I want to be asked and invited and begged to play, not having to find out and qualify and pay for it myself, Not deal with the harsh realities of being an amateur chess player. So queen a4, do I have to take here? Or what do I have to do? I don't know what to do. I'll take. DE, almost a pre-move. I'll castle, because if he goes knight takes e4, which is a legal move, I have a pleasant choice, I thought, between queen d5, when he has to go f3, and after knight e4 he would have to live with his triple e pawns, which is not everybody's cup of tea. And after knight e4 I also have the option to just recapture the pawn by going takes, followed by queen e2, and I'm also in good shape, because my knight looks superior to his dark square bishop there. So we'll see what Weston comes up with. I would just go bishop d2. If I was Weston, he goes b3, also fair enough, trying to develop that bishop on the long diagonal. I have to find a way to breach his defenses. Not so sure about rook d2. Knight e4, I still have all the things I said earlier, either queen d5 or just take on e2. But I'm not sure how I'm going to react to some rook to d1. I'll think about it, I guess. Probably rook c2. Or can I afford? I feel slightly uneasy about rook d8 because of bishop e7s and also because of the back rank situation. But maybe I shouldn't. I'm not sure. Thinking phase. My thinking has not led to one single thought, is the shameful truth. Will I be able to form one such thought? Nah, let's just blitz out moves. Do you know that feeling where you think in a blitz game for a whole minute and don't calculate a single line? It's happening too often. And then you normally make a bad move, as I did with rook to c2. When Weston seizes the moment, now that I no longer have queen d5, to actually take on e4, which makes sense. And I have to switch to... Well, I was paying attention earlier, actually. So I can't say I have to switch to paying attention. I have to switch to being very careful not to get checkmated. Rook a2, for example, queen e7 bothers me. The whole situation bothers me. And I am easily bothered, I will admit that much. However, I'm also easily outplayed today, which is even more unpleasant than being easily bothered. Does this just win? Looks quite unpleasant. Ay. He was threatening rook d8, and if I played h6 or some normal move, queen b7, double attack against a8 and a6. I couldn't do that, so I went queen a5, covering this square, but not exactly all the squares. I'm just being crushed, right? I think it's resigns now. Is it? Looks like resigns pretty much. I don't see a move. Nope. Queen f5, rook d8. Yeah, miss queen, rook d7, of course. No, just nothing to do, right? Queen h5, rook d8, any move. Blah, blah, blah. Rook f8, unfortunately, queen takes f8. So no, it's time to resign. Not a very impressive game by me, but good game by Western, who just gave me no chance. 20 moves? Got crushed in 20? This is not a great day. Congratulations, Western. Let us take cruel revenge on someone else. Boy, that was bad. Didn't feel that bad. But yeah, the key moment was... Let me get back to this. So I thought I had a decent position. Key moment was probably after... Maybe rook d2 was bad, but felt natural enough. After rook a1, where I stared at the position for a while, couldn't think of anything good, and then went for rook c2, which felt weird. Still can't think of anything good. I was calculating, or trying to calculate stuff like this, but it didn't really seem to work. No, even if I keep staring at it, it won't get better. So probably have to take, and I don't know what to do. Play h6 as a move, but then e4 is also hanging. Maybe it's just not a very good position. Not sure what I did wrong. But yeah, good game to Mr. Weston. Very sad. Let us play Nizahe. Ooh, a lot of strong players today. Like, strong, but still players I should be able to score some games against. Score some games against. I can't even talk anymore. Score some wins against. But today, the going has been very, very tough. It's probably the sun. Like, the sun really confuses me. All my biosystem is not very used to these endorphins you get from the sun. I think that is the proper place to blame. Kalnering is giving me a warning. Be careful, Jan. Only 1,800 more points to lose and you will be down to my level. The way I'm playing, it would not surprise me, Carl, if at the end of this session we both meet in the 1600 realm. What are we talking about? Knight takes d5, big blunder. Knight takes d5, never happened. Knight e4 was blunder. I didn't see why. Oh, and Nizahe is saying king h8, rook g8, no good. I didn't have to resign. I didn't see that. This will be the first time in my long, flaggish chess career that I resigned prematurely. Now, I should have tried king h8, rook g8. I mean, it's lost, bishop f8 or whatever, but I should not have resigned yet. We're still talking about the last game. I'm reading the chat on the Chess24 site, in case you're confused. Here there's this trick, right? This is the only thing I know about this position. It's not a good move, I believe, but it's a trick. If they go c5, you go knight e5. And if they takes knight d7, you win by playing queen h4. The problem is you have to misplace your queen for this very far-fetched trickery. And after h6, I'm going to have to think of some positional nonsense reason for it, like bishop f6 and then bishop a6 fighting for the light squares. That's hard to resist, getting in a dumb trick. Yeah, I'm going to follow through with my positional nonsense reasoning now. Isn't it sad when you're going for a dumb trick and they don't allow you to do it? It's the worst. Bishop takes. Alright. Does that change my plans or do I still go for my stuff? Could go bishop b5, making him go something awkward like knight to b8. Yeah, let's do that. I enjoy awkwardness. Even though I probably said the opposite. many times today already. I'm not sure it's bad for black either. He can always chase my pieces away and then readjust. But it's mentally tough to have to play knight b8. Even though it's one of my favorite moves. Knight d7, b8 normally is a good move. Looks like Nizahe doesn't want to do it and he's thinking about stuff like a6, bishop takes d7, b5, and be all dynamic. Don't do that. Just go knight b8. Trust me. He didn't listen. He's giving me a pawn, which is beautiful. I could take this, but then bishop a6. I don't know, not clear enough. So I'm gonna have to be humble, which does not come easy to me, and content myself with the one pawn I grabbed, and leave further pawn grabbing for the future. Queen d7. I wanted to go knight e5, but I'm having second thoughts as usual. Yeah, I'll wait. Just make some random moves first. FD1 might be a little too random. Maybe rook fe1, preparing e4 at least. Because now Nizahe gets all this counterplay, can prepare c5. And if he were to get in c5 without being bothered by me, he would actually have enough compensation for the pawn. Wouldn't that be sad? So now I have to go for this, I guess. That's not what I wanted. Very stubbornly trying to hang on to his bishops, but I think he had to take and then go c5, because now my horses can join the fight for the c5 square. And that is probably more important than the pair of bishops in this position, especially because the bishop on b7 doesn't really do all that much. Black still has to play bishop e7, then follow with c5, but now I can exchange a bunch of things there and be in very good shape. He goes e5 instead, but that already gives me some pleasant options, between which I shall agonize and then not decide on any. I could take here knight f3 and see where that takes us. I could try to take here a couple times and grab a second pawn. Guess I'll start with this pre-move. It's a pawn, right? Earlier, queen takes b5 didn't work because of bishop a6 targeting the rook on f1, but that is no longer the case. So seems like it's a safe time to grab it. Can I throw in knight f3 just to be extra cunning? Guess so. Was no real reason for it. I could just have played queen c5, but if it works, it looked like a good move. Queen takes e3. I can go queen a6, queen f3, queen takes c8 check. So that doesn't seem to work. And yeah, if the queen goes somewhere, I can probably continue my pawn grabbery by playing queen takes d5. Queen f6. I'll take. What do you want? Bishop e2. Do I care? Rook e1. Rook d2. Rook d8. Queen e4. Nah, don't care. I know I said rook d2, but then I changed my mind and thought, why not put it on d4? It's not going to be hanging in any of these sneaky rook d8 lines, so that looked a lot safer. And here I still have a bunch of pawns. Even though from d4 it's not attacking the bishop on e2. So Same as always. You can't get everything. Even though I really want everything. Queen c6. Anything wins, as is often the case when you have 3 extra pawns. But might as well admit that earlier I overdid it. Now rook d2, rook e4, still 95 then. Yeah, as I said, anything kind of wins. Before he goes bishop b7, and then I blunder knight d4, queen takes g2, checkmate. I'll go there now. And just so I don't forget about it later, I'll go f3 now. Covering this. And don't you think I would ever give up one of my hard-earned pawns. Not gonna happen. And Nizahe, now that I saved my a2 pawn, has seen enough. And resigns. Yeah, that was a good pawn grabbing game. Kudos to me. Let's play Stephen Hawking on Red Bull. Wow. I'm trying to think about the implications of that. Would Red Bull make Stephen Hawking smarter? Or just more hyperactive? I don't know what effects it would have on him. Are you saying Stephen Hawking did not have access to caffeine? I don't even know how to pronounce that word. And that's what stopped him from achieving greater things? And also, is that really Stephen Hawking on your profile picture? Like, I'm no expert when it comes to the smart guys, but he looks more Einstein-y to me. He plays this fake Stonewall, which is not a good version of the Stonewall, because I haven't committed to g3 stuff yet. And generally, if white can get bishop f4 and e3 against your Stonewall, you must suffer. This is not a good line for black. I've played against it many times, because it is surprisingly popular, but good it is not. Queen c2 is one way to play it. One point is that after knight e4, g4 is a good move, as far as I know. Well, if you don't go knight e4, well, what are you going to do? Knight a6, I'll go a3, knight b7, I'll go cd5. So knight e4 is sort of the way to play. And then, as far as I know, and I know very far, g4 is a good move. Cardinal Superblinds is saying Hawking has been advocating more human spaceflight recently. So you're saying, since Red Bull gives you wings, that if on Red Bull he could fly into space himself? I'm not sure about that. Red Bull wings theory. He goes g6. Interesting. Never seen that move. Looks highly artificial. The point is that after cd5 you can go ed5. Well, you defended your f5 pawn. But you should still get punished for this, no? Bishop h6, rook e8. I don't achieve anything. I don't know what to do. h4, knight e5. So many options. Castles. I'll just castle, I guess. Well, go here. Can't decide. I don't like being told what to do, but I'm also extremely undecisive if it's my own choice, which sort of makes life very tough. Knight bd7, this would normally be the moment to go cd, but here I don't really see how much it accomplishes. So I'll just keep it simple. Interesting idea, this g6. I don't believe it's very good, but I don't believe black's position is very good in the first case. So might as well do something non-knight e4. And yeah, short castles, not the most aggressive choice, I will admit. You could go for long castles for f3, h4 sort of business. But white is better here as well, if not for anything else, for the simple fact that the e4 square can be controlled by pawns, while the e5 square cannot be. I know. So a knight on e4 will be temporary, but a knight on e5, and I know it's a long way to go, would be forever. Still, having said all that, I'm not very impressed with how much I extracted from the opening here against Mr. Hawking. I should have punished him more harshly for his many sins. But I'm still better. Yay me. Yay me, Lannister. Not that much better, actually. If it just goes b6, bishop b7, I don't know what to do. I'll be very sad, probably. No bravery. No bravery in my eyes anymore. Only sadness. Only sadness. What's happening? Are we talking basketball in the chat? Beautiful. Let's talk NBA off-season. What do I think on the D'Angelo Lopez trade? I believe it's a win-win. I believe D'Angelo Russell. First of all, people will never forgive him in Los Angeles for the Nick Young incident. So his reputation was too short there, and a change of scenery is good for him. Secondly, I heard this the other day, some executive said about him, I'm not sure we can dumb down the defense even further for him. So there were serious questions about his defense. Therefore, if they want to get Lonzo Ball, which it looks like, then it makes all the sense in the world to get rid of D'Angelo Russell, if that's the price you have to pay for getting rid of the... Who was it? The Mozgov contract, right? Mozgov, not Deng. So I believe, yeah, it's a smart decision by the Lakers. And for the Nets, they don't really have a choice. They don't have any talent or options to get talent. So whatever reclamation project they can get their hands on, they should absolutely go for. Therefore, yeah, I think good trade for both teams. It's sad that no one's talking about the Dwight Howard, or the White Howard, as I like to call him, trade. Because people forgot about Dwight Howard, like his back really ruined his career. It's sort of funny that he was doing a social media Q&A on NBA trades while he learned that he was being traded. But yeah, those are the things I've read up on this morning. What other trade things are there? Let's check the choices of my sites of my choice. I don't read that many basketball sites. I read ESPN, I read The Ringer, I read SI.com. That is about it. What about this game? I'm winning on time. Come on, Stephen Hawking. You're on Red Bull and you can't produce any moves? What's going on there? I'm also a little better, but really, it's Blitz game. Must move more quickly and not once you're down to 13 seconds. Even though this has happened to me before, where you sort of forget about the time, enjoying the fierce competition. I spotted some fierce pawn grabbery, so I went for that, of course. It's fun to blitz out moves, isn't it? But it's such a hard battle to win if your opponent has 2 minutes and you have 13 seconds. You really have to checkmate him in the last couple of moves. So yeah, sorry Stephen Hawking on Red Bull. Guess the time control snuck up on him in there. What else are we talking? More basketball talk? I don't think these Porzingis trade talks are real. Like, Phil Jackson is going... Yeah, he's saying many strange things, but he can't be nutty enough to trade Porzingis, so he's probably going to ask for some ridiculous things back. Therefore, yeah, that's not going to happen. No one's going to stop the Warriors, which is why things are so hard for Boston and all these other teams. Which year do you plan for? Next year, 2020? Who knows these things? I do not. Let's play maybe 2 more games, and then the Grand Chess Tour is starting, which I'll be watching, not commentating, sadly. But I'll be following closely. It's a great event with, I don't even know who's playing, even though I just read the report. 10 of the best players in the world for sure, and it's rapid games, so that's always a lot of fun. I might stick around and do some highlight videos or whatever. I really haven't thought it through yet. But I'm looking forward to it, and you guys can see it right here on chess24.com. I will play Yasser Visser, who I outrate. And today I need all the rating edge I can get. Like 1,000 points, weren't able to cut it. So let's move to 2,000 and see if that brings me any luck. C4, C5, E3. The main move is D5. I normally chicken out from D5 as well and go knight F3. E3 is legal. And what do? Let's transpose to the Panov, I believe it's called, after C, D, E, D, D5. We transpose to E4, C6, D4, D5. Knight C3, knight F6. E, D, C, D, C4, knight F6, knight C3, that kind of thing. Knight F3 is a mistake, or a mistake at a very high level, because now I can go G6. Knight C3 is stronger than knight F3. I think I talked about this in one of my video series via different move order. But yeah, this matters a little bit. After knight C3, G6 is less good, because then you can take on D5 and try to hang on to the pawn. Well, after knight F3, there's not enough pressure against D5. So I can just do whatever I want, get my pieces out, and get a good position. I was about to pre-move castles, but then I thought, if he goes bishop C4, queen B3, or knight takes D5, that'd be a bit awkward. Being asked, which live stream do you watch, Jan? What live stream is that? For the Paris thing? I haven't looked at it yet. Like, I'll just stay on Chess24 and see, have a look at the games. And maybe I'll switch on the English stream. Maybe I won't. Honestly, mainly because of my giant ego. I don't like watch other people commentate. But most of the time, I just like to check the games and then, yeah, play around a bit, make some moves on the board, try to figure out what's going on for myself. So normally I don't always switch on the live streams and just stare at the moves. Which, yeah, it's probably a great plug for all our premium live streams. I don't even use them. I am, however, planning to grab his bishop here by going knight a5. Kalnering is saying, instead of highlight video, you could do a chess version of Shacked and a Fool. There's less physicality in chess involved, so I'm not sure how much that would work. And, I mean, people tend to enjoy these, like, the worst blunders kind of things. And I've thought about it. For me, it's tricky, because in spite of all the trash talking I do, I respect all these guys a great deal, and I know what great chess players they are. So I always find it slightly wrong if you're for these standards, petzer like myself, to do videos where I make fun of them. Like, the idea has come to my mind, but it feels slightly disrespectful, and I don't like that. And even though I watch Shacked and the Fool, I sort of feel the same way about that. Queen b4, give me that. Chess player 007, always full of questions. Do you have a video series in planning? Give me a little break, I just published one and I just finished the Altibox Norway Chess. But yeah, I'm working on stuff, and as always, chess player 007, you'll be the first to know. That's probably, once again, not true. But I like telling you that. Spills does have a point where you young can make fun of the other GMs. Some are saying this is a reason why he was born. And he might have a glorious rebirth one day. But he's a lazy dude. Carl Neering is saying pretty much only Shaq can get away with this show with the Shaq in a fool. Yeah, well, JaVale McGee didn't seem too thrilled with the show, from what I understood. But yeah, it's a tricky balance, and I don't think it's mean-spirited, and neither would it be if I do some blunder show, because it has to come from a space where you respect all the players. But it's tricky to zoom in on people's mistakes who are so much better at what they're doing than you are. So yeah, I'm slightly struggling with it. What is this? This is an empty glass? Like, there's always theories that I'm drinking out of an empty mug already. But if I start drinking out of an empty glass, they will finally have a reason to say this guy should not be walking around freely anymore. What else is there? This game is not that interesting ever since I managed to grab his bishop on c4 with my cunning knight a5 trick. It's a bit of an uphill battle for Yasser Visser. And yeah, barring major surprises, I should get the job done because of my extra bishop. So, let's keep studying the chat. Spills is saying Shaq was super overrated. I don't agree with that. He's saying if the refs called the games properly, he would have fouled out of every game in the first 3 minutes. But it goes both ways. He also was fouled on every possession, but since he's so strong and so big, like, people don't call these fouls against him or on him either. So yeah, I think he was a dominant force. You could argue that whatever. He wasn't obsessive, single-minded enough about the game of basketball that he could have achieved more than he did. But you can't say the dude wasn't good. Carl Neering has a good point too. If refs called games properly, NBA would go out of business. Yeah, I had that feeling a bit without wanting to go too deeply into conspiracy theory territory. But the Warriors weren't getting a lot of calls in games 4 and 5 with, yeah, the NBA probably not too unhappy prolonging the series, but that's the nature of the beast. Alright, anyway, what do I have to say about the Paris Grand Prix? Nothing much. I've become a bit of a Magnus homer these days. Ever since working for Magnus, I keep telling people he's still the best player in the world. He'll be back. And that is also my very honest belief. I believe he will do very well in this format, which is a rapid format. He might have a bit of classical games fatigue because it's so hard to win a game with everybody so well prepared. But in rapid, I'm sure he'll be willing to play even goofier openings, experiment a little more. And I still think he's the big favorite in anything he does. But who knows? Who else is playing? Mamedyarov is playing. I believe it will be exciting to see him in that company. Is he playing? It would be embarrassing if he did. But I believe he's in. Let me look up the field. Yeah, so we got Carlsen, Nakamura, always a force in rapid chess. Wesley So, always a force in any competition. I was commenting in Leuven last year, and there Wesley had a great event. I don't think he lost many games, but he was incredibly happy to make a draw against anybody pretty much at any point. And I'm wondering if now that he's at the very least in the conversation for most on form or strongest player in the world, if he still has that luxury to play super tight and not being happy with a draw at any point. And probably he's going to have to play more aggressively. We'll see how that works out for him. But Wesley, of course, up there as well on the list of favorites. Mamedyarov mentioned, MVL, always very strong in rapid blitz events. Fabiano normally tends to use these more for experimenting and doesn't seem so focused on his result. But I could be very wrong with that read. Great to see Grishuk in the mix. Kayakin did not have a great Norway chess. I'm curious. there are some theories out there that Kayakin is more into preparing for the candidates tournament where he's already qualified as a World Championship challenger and will use all the other events as a training ground, but won't worry too much about his results. We'll see. Vasily Topalov, had some mixed results recently, but can still play chess, of course. And Etienne Bacrot, my Baden-Baden teammate, glad to see him in there getting a chance as the local hero. He's a bit of a chess player, Etienne, too. Bit of a chess player, that sounds condescending. He's incredibly strong, and I would not be surprised to see him do much better than people expect in that field. So that's my expert, without any graphics or any preparation, preview of the Paris leg of the Grand Chess Tour, which I believe starts in a couple minutes, so you guys have a chance to grab yourself a beverage and then stay right here. Or go wherever you like. Go sit in the garden, it's a sunny day. Follow that event. I will be back to redeem myself, because I had to endure a lot of crushing at your hands. Tomorrow, same time, same place, 12:30, before Paris starts, I shall sit here and do Banter Blitz. That's it. Thank you for watching the show. Apologies for the terrible play. I blame the sun. I was freaked out by all of the sunlight in my face. Can't handle it. Having said that, I'll be very depressed when the sunlight disappears and it's back to rainy 5 degrees Celsius Hamburg weather. So let's enjoy it while it lasts. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.